In the final centuries of antiquity, no one imagined that a vast civilization would rise from the deserts of the Arabian Peninsula. The region was surrounded by two great superpowers, the Christian Byzantine Empire in the west and the Persian Sasanian Empire in the east. Between these giants lived scattered Arab tribes, mostly nomadic, divided by culture and faith. Most were polytheists, worshipping many deities. But everything was about to change. Around 570 CE, in the trading city of Mecca, a man was born whose influence would reshape global history: Muhammad. According to Islamic tradition, he was chosen by God as the final prophet in a line that included Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. Over many years, the revelations he received were compiled into the Quran, the sacred book of Islam. At first, Muhammad faced persecution, but after migrating to Medina, a moment that marks the beginning of the Islamic calendar, he united the Arab tribes, built a new religious and political community, and ultimately transformed Arabia into a Muslim nation. When Muhammad died in 632, a major question emerged: who would lead this new civilization? This debate over rightful leadership would shape Islamic history for centuries. Muhammad's successors adopted the title Caliph, meaning successor. The first four rulers, known as the rightly guided caliphs, governed for 30 years. Under them, a structured state took form, complete with taxation, institutions, and bureaucracy. At the same time, massive military campaigns expanded the young Muslim empire across the Middle East. Within a single generation, Muslim armies defeated the Byzantines in several regions and completely collapsed the Sasanian Empire. For many Muslims, this era is considered the golden, foundational period, yet it was also marked by political tension, tribal divisions, and assassinations. A major conflict centered around Ali, Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law. His supporters believed that he had been divinely chosen as the Prophet's rightful heir. They would eventually be known as Shia Muslims. Those who did not accept this view, later called Sunnis, formed the opposing side. This political dispute would evolve into the largest religious division in Islam. In 661, the leadership shifted to the Umayyad dynasty, an Arab family ruling from Damascus. For the first time, the Caliphate became hereditary, passing from father to son. Under Umayyad rule, the empire expanded dramatically, from Central Asia to the Iberian Peninsula in Europe. At its peak, the Umayyad Caliphate was one of the largest empires in history. But divisions grew. Rebellions erupted across the empire, and the famous tragedy at Karbala, where Hussein's son was killed, deepened the Shia-Sunni divide. Eventually, the Umayyads collapsed. In 750, the Abbasid dynasty rose to power, claiming descent from Muhammad's uncle. With the Abbasids came a new vision. They built a new capital, Baghdad, a city that quickly became the most advanced metropolis on earth. This era, known as the Islamic Golden Age, saw breakthroughs in science, philosophy, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, and literature. Scholars translated Greek, Persian, and Indian works into Arabic, preserving and expanding human knowledge. Under Caliph Harun al-Rashid, the court of Baghdad became a global center of learning and cultural exchange. But while arts and sciences flourished, political control fractured. Local dynasties, Persian, Turkic, and Arab, asserted independence. By the 10th century, the Abbasid Caliph in Baghdad held mostly symbolic power, as rulers like the Persian Umayyads and the Arab Fatimids dominated large territories. Islam was no longer a purely Arab story. It had become a multicultural world. In Spain, a surviving branch of the Umayyads established a separate kingdom centered on Córdoba. For centuries, Muslim, Christian, and Jewish communities lived and produced culture side by side, even as Christian forces slowly pushed south in what became known as the Reconquista. Meanwhile, in the East, the Middle East witnessed the rise of powerful Turkic groups. These nomadic warriors, masters of mounted archery, converted to Islam and entered the region. In 1055, a Turkic dynasty known as the Seljuks took Baghdad. They ruled as military protectors of the Abbasid Caliph and defended the Sunni world from rival Shia powers like the Fatimids. In 1071, the Seljuks defeated the Byzantine Empire at the Battle of Manzikert, opening the door for Turkic migration into Anatolia, the land that would later become Turkey. But the Muslim world was far from unified. In 995, while the region was politically divided, the Crusades began. European Christian armies seized Jerusalem and founded states along the Mediterranean coast. For nearly 200 years, Crusaders remained a constant presence. Then a new leader emerged, Saladin, a Kurdish Sunni general. He abolished the Fatimid dynasty in Egypt, unified Muslim territories, and famously recaptured Jerusalem in 1187, after defeating the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin. As the 13th century began, another force appeared, one that would shake the entire world: the Mongols. Under Genghis Khan and his descendants, the Mongol Empire became the largest contiguous empire in history. In 1258, the Mongol leader Hulagu Khan captured Baghdad, destroyed the city, and executed the Abbasid Caliph, ending over 500 years of Abbasid leadership. The destruction of Baghdad symbolized the end of the Islamic Golden Age. However, the tide soon turned. In Egypt, a new ruling class had risen, the Mamluks, former Turkic slave soldiers who had seized power. In 1260, the Mamluks defeated the Mongols at the Battle of Ain Jalut, marking the first major Mongol defeat and preventing further expansion into the Middle East. They also eliminated the remaining Crusader strongholds, ending 2 centuries of Crusader presence. Meanwhile, the Mongol Empire fragmented into regional states. Many of these Mongol rulers converted to Islam and supported new waves of cultural and scientific development. In the late 1300s, the brutal conqueror Timur, known in the West as Tamerlane, built another empire across Iran, Central Asia, and beyond. His dynasty continued into the 14th century, promoting arts, architecture, and scholarship, even while waging devastating wars. But the next great chapter was forming in Anatolia. Around 1300, a small Turkic principality, led by a man named Osman, began expanding. His descendants built the Ottoman Empire, which conquered Byzantine territories, and in 1453 captured Constantinople, ending the 1,000-year Byzantine Empire. Under the Ottomans, the Middle East, North Africa, and much of southeastern Europe came under one powerful state. In 1517, Sultan Selim conquered Egypt and claimed the title of Caliph, establishing the last major caliph in Islamic history. The Ottomans, along with the Safavids in Iran and the Mughals in India, became one of the 3 great gunpowder empires of the early modern era. The Ottomans endured for 6 centuries until the pressures of World War I finally brought their empire to an end in the early 20th century. Across 1,000 years, through conquests, scientific breakthroughs, cultural exchanges, and devastating wars, Islamic civilization shaped world history. From the deserts of Arabia to the cities of Spain, Persia, Central Asia, India, and Anatolia,
It produced empires, preserved ancient knowledge, and left an enduring mark on the story of humanity.